Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to explain to you what's the difference between fitness, health, and CrossFit, and the relation between the three of them. When anybody comes and asks me what is CrossFit, I receive so many questions like what is CrossFit and why do we play CrossFit and why we do the high intensity training of CrossFit, and CrossFit makes everybody injured, and I receive questions, so many questions like that. So I need to highlight the definition of CrossFit and why do we play CrossFit. CrossFit is constantly varied, high intensity functional movement. Constantly varied, high intensity functional movement. But if anybody comes and asks you what is CrossFit and you answer like CrossFit is constantly varied, high intensity functional movement, that's going to be a little bit stupid because nobody will understand what is constantly varied, high intensity functional movement. So just ask the person who asks you what is CrossFit, just ask the person if he's free tomorrow at 9 o'clock or if he's free tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning. So bring him inside the gym and start a CrossFit class. And while doing the exercises of the CrossFit class, just while doing the burpees, for example, tell him this is the high intensity. When he sits and stands like in a squat position, tell him that this is the functional movement, that we do the functional movements inside our daily lives. So if you have deadlifts in your class, in your fitness class, so when you teach him deadlift, so you can just tell him this is how you should lift everything from the ground in a deadlift position, in a good posture, for the good technique and good posture and for the safety of your backs. So let me take a second here to explain to you what is variance and what is intensity and what is functionality. CrossFit is constantly varied. It's varied, like it's always changing. It's always changing. For example, if you compare CrossFit with the bodybuilders, for example, so the bodybuilders' variance is Monday triceps, Friday shoulders, Saturdays legs. So there are no variance in the muscles. So but it's like all weeks, all days the same, all days, all weeks the same. It's exactly the same thing for the bodybuilders because they are specialized in something. But CrossFit is specialized in non-specialization. So it is the program of variations. We lift, we swim, we run, we cycle, we do spinning, we do everything. So CrossFit is combined all the sports together. This is the variance of CrossFit. And what about the high intensity? The intensity for the endurance, for example, for the runners who runs the full marathon, half marathon, the half Ironman, the full Ironman. So the intensity for them is their heart rate. The intensity for the endurance, for the runners, is the heart rate, which is really not correct because they are always running, and the heart rate is not the accurate measure of the intensity of the human beings. The high intensity, for example, for the bodybuilders is how red his face is when he's doing biceps with a very heavy dumbbell, like 20k dumbbell in the right hand and 20k dumbbell in the left hand, and they start like making like this with red faces. This is the high intensity of the bodybuilders. But in the CrossFit, the high intensity is, let's see, the definition of intensity. What is intensity in CrossFit? And the physiologists define definition of intensity. Intensity is power. How powerful you are. This is the intensity. Not the high heart rate. Okay. And what is power? What is power? What is power? Power is force times distance over time. This is power. So what's the relation between power and intensity? Power and force, power and distance, power and time. Intensity, as I said before, intensity is power. Power equals force times distance times over time. So force, how for the load, how much you can carry. For the distance, for how long. And the time, you have to do it very quickly and speedy. Okay? So this is the definition of intensity in CrossFit. So intensity in CrossFit is power. Power equals force times distance over the time. Okay, let's take the third word that I'm going to elaborate. Functional. What is functional? Functional means that when we do a move, or when we learn the posture of any move in the fitness, we use it in our lives, in our normal lives. So for example, the squats. How many times we sit and stand in a day? How many we carry heavy loads from the ground? How many times I put something up in a good posture and good position? So those are all functional movements. So CrossFit is specialized in no specialization. This is how attractive it is. That makes you fit in every single domain in your entire lives.